Now, going back, obviously you said you came from the squeaky clean sitcom image, and I was curious, of course, about Boy Meets World and sort of, how you remember the show, like how you look back on it now, how you feel about it.
It's still like probably one of the greatest experiences of my life. I mean, a sitcom schedule is really the greatest schedule. It's like you rehearse, you hang out with your friends, you try and make each other laugh as much as possible, and then they bring in a big audience and you put on a show, and there's cameras and you're just laughing the entire time. I mean, the whole time is about laughter and that sense of community that you build through 7 years of doing that. That's unbeatable. So I look back on those years very fondly. And I would love to do a sitcom again, but, unfortunately, sitcoms aren't really being made anymore.
Right.
It's sort of a dying art form, and especially the family sitcom like Boy Meets World. So, in a way, I have a lot of nostalgia. I look back on it very fondly. I'm glad that I've been able to do completely different types of things like Cabin Fever and, the horror films and my own, like, directing projects and stuff that I'm moving into that are probably more my style, Like, I don't know, because I didn't grow up with television. I don't know if I would have watched Boy Meets World. So it's not really but, I'm still very proud of it, and it's still really nice now to meet, everybody 25 to 30, that I run into, a large portion of them remember it very fondly and come, say things to me like, dude, I grew up with you. And,
right.
You were a big part of it. And a lot of the stuff that I sort of rolled my eyes about while we were shooting Boy Meets World, the nice, healthy, squeaky clean message, the moral, the Mr. Feeney stuff. Right. I mean, that stuff actually really, I think, positively impacted a lot of kids.
Right.
I think I was a little too cool for Boy Meets World because I was a teenager, but I didn't realize that people 5 years younger who were, 10 years old watching it, those were good messages. Those were good things for them to learn and see and, be entertained by. So I'm proud of it on that level, too.
Sure.
It's all positive.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Now, switching gears a little bit, I was a very big fan of the Starship Troopers animated series, and I know you've done a pretty good amount of voiceover work, and I was curious, what's the difference for you between voice acting and on-camera acting, and if you prefer one over the other, or what you might like better about voice acting than on-camera acting?
Voice acting is like the easiest job in the world.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I actually haven't done much voiceover for the last couple of years, and I would love to do some more of it. It's a great job. I mean, it's a lot of fun. You don't have to learn your lines. You can look like crap, and there's also a lot of freedom in terms of improvisation and trying things different ways because there's not a huge film crew. It's just you and a microphone. So if you want to try something a little bit different or change up the line, it's you, the director, and maybe the writer sitting there, and just try it. It doesn't cost anybody that much to go a whole different direction because they haven't animated it yet. So I love voiceover. Like I said, I haven't really been doing that much of it. I did the Starship Troopers years ago. But, it's fun. I have a lot of friends in that world. Will Friedle, who was on Boy Meets World with me, is now, the go-to cartoon guy. I mean, he's always doing, 2 or 3 cartoons. And I'm good friends with John DiMaggio, who's the voice of Bender on Futurama. And I'm so glad that those guys are coming back. But yeah, I remember they actually, when they were going through those awful negotiations with Fox for Futurama, they asked me to come in and audition for one of the parts to replace the cast.
Wow.
I was like, no, I refuse. I totally, refused to do it, and I called John DiMaggio. I'm like, I'm not doing it, but he's like, good. And sure enough, of course, they ended up bringing back the original cast, because I don't know how you could not do that show without them.
It would have been pretty disastrous.
Yeah.
Now, you said you've moved into, obviously you've been producing a couple of your latest films. I know you directed one a couple of years back. Are you moving into more behind-the-scenes kind of stuff as well as acting?
Yeah, it's a lot more sort of satisfying in some ways because, you know, as an actor, it's like you can pour your heart into something, especially when it comes to independent films. And the films can have they have a hard time getting distribution. They have a hard time finding an audience. And you work so hard on something, you have, as an actor, you don't have that much control over the end product. So being a director or being the writer, you know, it's your baby. It's start to finish. And so that's really what I'm interested in now. I mean, acting is great, and it's still what's paying my bills, so I'm going to keep doing it, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm moving in the writing direction. I just got my first, or it's going to be published. My first short story is going to be published in the spring.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Yeah, so I'm moving into like fiction too. So I'm sort of trying, but definitely moving into more of the writing and directing stuff because being in front of the camera, and it just, sometimes it just comes down to how tall you are, or, whether you're, the fact that I'm not 35 hurts me for one role, but then the fact that I'm not 22 hurts me for another role. It's like, what, and it's just such a crapshoot going on auditions and meetings, and it's like, after a while, you're just like, okay, I'm going to try and take a little of this under my own control and do my own thing, and it's a lot more satisfying.
What else do you have coming up that we can look forward to?
That's a good question. I did this film called Darkening Sky. I shot that in November. This is a little low-budget sci-fi, edging my way out of the horror world into sci-fi. And I'm not sure what's happening with it. I know that they were editing, and it had some visual effects and stuff to be done. So I'm not sure, where that's going to go, but hopefully that'll start popping up at festivals or whatnot. And I'm sure they'll end up being able to get some kind of video distribution, but I would love to see it hit the theaters too. But it's a cool little film. So I've shot that. I have no idea when that's coming out. And then my own sort of writing projects and directing stuff. My brother and I are going to be shooting another short film. We made a short 2 years ago, and we're going to be shooting another one this year. So I'll be probably touring the festivals with that by the end of this year.